Justice is often seen as a symbol of fairness, but it depends on a fragile mix of truth, morality, and human flaws. In Juror number 2, Clint Eastwood skillfully breaks down this delicate idea, setting the story in the hot streets of Savannah, Georgia, where personal guilt and the search for justice collide. The film follows Justin Kemp, a recovering alcoholic who struggles with his role as a juror while hiding a dark secret. He might have been involved in the crime. This creates a powerful story that reveals the imperfections in what seems like a flawless legal system. By weaving together guilt, ambition, systemic flaws, and morality, Juror number 2 challenges us to reflect on the weight of our own decisions and the true nature of justice. Justin Kemp's story is a powerful look at guilt, a feeling so strong it affects every part of his life. When he realizes he may have accidentally caused Kendall Carter's death, he goes from being a passive juror to feeling like he's guilty. The courtroom, usually seen as a place for justice, becomes a space where he must face his own guilt. The film takes us deep into Justin's mind, showing his psychological breakdown through visual and sound cues. The cinematography focuses on his growing anxiety with tight close-ups, making us feel his discomfort. The dull colors and dark lighting reflect his troubled state of mind, trapping him in his guilt. Every small movement or hesitation feels full of emotion, even without words. The film's slow pacing adds to the tension, matching Justin's confusing thoughts. Long silences highlight his inner struggle and make the weight of his choices feel even heavier. As he decides whether to confess and lose everything or manipulate the trial to protect himself, we are forced to think about what we would do in his situation. This is more than just a story about guilt. It makes us question our own sense of right and wrong. Would we make the right choice if it meant losing everything? Or would we choose to protect ourselves? Justin's moral struggle becomes more than just his personal battle. It's a reflection of the human experience, where the line between right and wrong becomes unclear under pressure. His actions, though flawed, are driven by a deep fear of losing everything he cares about, making him a character we can relate to. The courtroom becomes a mirror, not only reflecting Justin's inner turmoil, but also challenging us to examine our own sense of empathy and judgment. Faith Killebrew's character contrasts with Justin Kemp, showing how ambition can blur the line between justice and personal gain. As a prosecutor with political goals, Faith is not driven by hate, but by her desire to advance in a competitive field. Her push for a high-profile conviction is both a career move and a sign of her determination to succeed in a system that values winning more than truth. This makes her character both understandable and troubling, as her ambition starts to affect her sense of right and wrong. Faith's actions show the flaws in the justice system. She chooses not to carefully look at evidence that could prove the defendant's innocence, not because she doesn't know better, but because she sees it as a risk. She knows that revealing this evidence could hurt her case, damage her reputation, and hurt her chances for a political promotion. The film shows her as a product of a system that values results over accuracy, where truth often takes a back seat to personal and professional gain. This adds depth to the film's exploration of morality, as Faith's actions reflect a broken legal and political system. Faith's character also critiques unchecked ambition. Her story shows the cost of choosing personal success over doing what's right, as her ambition blinds her to the real harm her actions cause. In her desire to win, she becomes part of a system that fails innocent people and ignores the truth, similar to Justin's struggle with his own moral failures. Together, their stories create a complex view of justice and ambition, pushing us to face the uncomfortable reality that justice is often shaped by those who have the most to gain or lose. Justin Kemp's struggle with alcoholism is a key part of his character and helps us understand his inner turmoil. The film shows his addiction in a realistic and respectful way, not relying on stereotypes, but instead showing it as a tough, ongoing battle. Justin's sobriety isn't a final victory but a fragile state, always at risk of falling apart. This reflects the delicate balance he tries to keep in his life. From the start, the film shows that Justin's alcoholism is more than just a flaw. It's a result of deeper pain and unresolved guilt. The glimpses of his past stand in contrast to his present, where he's trying to be a better husband and soon-to-be father. But even though he's sober, his struggles haven't gone away, they've just changed. His fear of relapsing is as paralyzing as the addiction itself, always reminding him how easily he could lose everything he's worked to rebuild. The accidental death of Kendall Carter becomes the biggest test of Justin's recovery. The guilt he feels over his possible involvement weighs on him, threatening to undo the fragile stability he has built. His growing anxiety shows in small but powerful ways: shaking hands during jury discussions, sleepless nights staring at a bottle he keeps hidden, and moments of self-hatred as he struggles with whether to confess or stay silent. The film shows how addiction works in cycles, where guilt and shame can trigger a relapse, creating a difficult pattern to break. Justin's future as a father adds more emotion to his struggle. He fears becoming the type of parent his child would be ashamed of, something tied to his own experiences with addiction. This fear pushes him to protect his family at all costs, even if it means compromising his morals. His fight with addiction becomes a part of his broader quest to redeem himself, as he tries to fix his past mistakes and become the person he wants to be. Silence plays a huge role in Juror Number 2, acting like a character on its own that shapes the story and adds moral depth. Secrets fill the film, affecting Justin Kemp, Faith Killebrew, the jury, and even the justice system. These hidden truths create suspense and show the serious consequences of keeping things secret, both personally and in the system. Justin Kemp's silence, protection, and pressure. Justin's silence about his possible role in Kendall Carter's death is the biggest secret in the film. At first, he stays quiet to protect his family and keep his sobriety intact. But as the trial goes on, his silence becomes a heavy burden, slowly breaking him down. The film shows how hard it is to keep the truth hidden, with close-up shots of Justin's face and tense, cramped settings that reflect the pressure he feels. Faith Killebrew's silence. Faith's decision to keep evidence that could clear James' side is another form of silence, but hers is planned and strategic. Unlike Justin, who is driven by fear and guilt, Faith's silence comes from her ambition and desire to protect her career. She knows that bringing up the evidence could hurt her case and her future as a district attorney. Her silence is a tool she uses to control the situation and get the result she wants. The jury's silence. The jury represents the flaws in the justice system, with each member bringing their own biases and secrets. While Justin's silence stands out, the film also shows smaller, quieter secrets from other jurors. These include their judgments about James based on his race, background, or appearance, as well as their inner conflicts or reluctance to speak up. During group deliberations, silence distorts justice. Jurors who aren't sure about James's guilt stay quiet to avoid conflict, while others use their confidence to sway opinions without proper facts. This shows how easily silence can affect the jury's decision and how it can damage the fairness of a trial. As the story unfolds, the weight of all these secrets becomes clear. Justin's silence puts an innocent man's life in danger, Faith's hidden evidence damages the trial's integrity, and the jury's biases support inequality in the system. Each secret leads to the next, creating a chain of actions that traps everyone involved. In Juror Number 2, the death of Kendall Carter, the victim of a hit-and-run, is pushed aside in favor of focusing on the personal struggles of the two main characters, Justin and Faith. This choice highlights how the justice system often overlooks the people it is supposed to protect. Instead of focusing on Kendall's tragic death, the story centers on the guilt, ambition, and manipulation of those involved in the trial. This shift in focus critiques how victims can become just background characters in the legal process, rather than being given the attention they deserve. Though we don't learn much about Kendall's life, brief flashbacks and mentions show she had a family and a life full of potential. These moments remind us that Kendall's death is more than just a plot point. It's a loss that impacts those who knew her. By making Kendall a forgotten figure, Juror Number 2 highlights how the justice system often prioritizes the stories of those within the system, lawyers, defendants, and jurors, over the victims. Kendall's death becomes just a stepping stone in the larger story rather than the central event. The ending of the film leaves things unclear, making it a powerful final moment. Faith showing up at Justin's house hints that there are still things left unresolved. Is she there to make sure justice is done? Or is there a hidden understanding between them about the choices they've made? This unclear ending leaves us to think about what really happened. It reflects the movie's main question. Can true justice ever be reached when it's so closely tied to people's flaws and mistakes? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.